Welcome, everybody. This is David DiNapoli, president of the Pontifical University of the Holy Cross Foundation, here with Father John Ezratty, grad. What year did you graduate?
2000, the
2000,
Jubilee year.
The Jubilee year. Awesome. That was a great time in the church. So we're just talking about Father John's experience here. Father John, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Well, I'm a priest of the Archdiocese of Denver in Colorado, and I am one of the formators at St. John Vianney Seminary. So I was appointed a year ago, and I'm working with the future priests here in the seminary.
Amazing. Yeah, this is a pretty rockin' seminary. It's I would say, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, in the whole country. So.
Well, not the greatest, but I would say I'm very happy with the seminary. Yeah. I mean, I'm still new, but I would say it's a great seminary, great people, great professors, great leadership, and great seminarians. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about just your journey to the priesthood and what led you to Santa Croce?
Well, I was born in Argentina, so I was born and raised in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and since I was a junior in high school, I already thought about the priesthood. I wouldn't say I didn't make my discernment there, but I was pretty inclined towards the priesthood and spiritual things. So when I was a junior, I kind of made a decision saying, well, yeah, that might be my path. But eventually I wanted to go to medicine. Then I said no. Then I studied philosophy. Mm-hmm. And eventually I joined a community in Argentina, which was part of my formation. And it is a community that sent me to Italy and to study at Santa Croce. But we're talking about 1997. So wow. It was not even the University of the Holy Cross. It was the Athenaeum of the Holy Cross. So I'm not among the first ones, obviously, but I feel very rooted in the identity of Santa Croce.
That's amazing. So that was when it was back in the original building. That was before they were in the new building?
No, they were already in the new building. Oh, okay. Yeah, they had moved already to the old Roman seminary.
Gotcha.
No, it was not the very, very beginning. But I know a lot of people who were there at the very beginning.
Okay.
So then we had the big building with the university, but it changed so much since my time. I went to visit 15 years after my graduation, and everything was different. I mean, It's amazing. And then the library was at San Girolamo della Carità.
Ah, perfect. Yes. So tell us a little bit about why you chose Santa Croce as opposed to one of the universities there in Rome.
Well, to be honest, I didn't choose Santa Croce. I was sent to Santa Croce. The superiors at that moment thought that it was the best choice, going to Rome and study. But I think at this point, knowing what I know, that if I had to choose, I would have chosen Santa Croce anyway. So, I mean, Santa Croce, besides the academics, besides everything you can learn, I think it's just a family. And even if I graduated in 2000, I still feel part of the family. And I have a brother who travels and sometimes works with Santa Croce. And when he travels, he always talks to professors, and they are my professors or even my classmates.
Wow.
The dean of theology, the current dean of theology was a classmate of mine, a good friend of mine, Father Giulio Maspero. And just to see my classmates now being teachers, professors, even leadership in the university, it's just, I feel part of their lives, and I feel them as part of my life.
Oh, that's incredible. That's really wonderful. What was the first thing that stood out to you when you arrived at Santa Croce?
I felt a sense of the church there. One of the first things I noticed, well, besides a lot of people who spoke with a Spanish accent, which for me was great, actually, I will say the truth. But I think that the sense of the church, my whole experience in Rome was that, and Santa Croce was part of that experience. Just walking in and seeing people from all over the world studying, young men who wanted to be priests, and the way in which, I don't know, all the professors, everyone there, even the staff at the secretary, and everyone just, this universality of the church, which you see in Rome, obviously, was a microcosmos in Santa Croce. And that is one of the things that first caught my attention, because, wow, this is the world. Everyone from everywhere is here.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, it was, when I went there, back in June for the first time and visited the university, I got a similar feeling, just the sort of global universality of the church, and people men from Africa and India and the Philippines and South and Central America there learning.
Yeah.
And part of St. Jose Maria's vision was that this university be in close proximity to the Holy Father. At that time was John Paul II. Mm-hmm. Did you ever have the chance to meet him or see him in audiences?
Yes, I did have the chance to meet John Paul II, Saint John Paul II. It was this is part of my Roman experience. People ask me, what do you? I love Rome, and one of the things I miss the most is many times I would go to class in the morning and we would stay there at the library studying, and then I used to live not in the city, so I had to drive almost 50 minutes every day back and forth.
Oh, wow.
But just studying in the afternoon in the library, and then in the evening, especially in the winter, 6 o'clock, going to get the car, and I had to cross Piazza San Pietro and would see the Pope's studios window with the lights on. I was thinking, oh, the Pope is there, just working for the church, praying for the church. And Santa Croce just gives that idea of I walked from the Vatican to school every day. So my point was to go to the Vatican in the morning to San Pietro, St. Peter's Basilica, do my holy hour, have mass, and then from there walk to school. So it's very close, as you say. St. Jose Maria's vision was real because it's walking distance. But going back to your question, one year when I think it was 1999, I was still a seminarian, and I got the opportunity, the great grace, to serve a mass for St. John Paul II. It was June 29th, so the day of the Pope, actually, when the Pope gave the pallium to many archbishops of the world, and I got the grace. I had the grace to serve mass for him.
Wow.
And the most beautiful thing is that during the mass, I just carried a candle. I was not that close to the Holy Father. I was a little bummed because I wanted to be closer. Other seminarians were close with incense and books. I was carrying a candle. Anyway, I was still in the mass with the Pope. And after the mass, they gave us the opportunity to introduce ourselves to St. John Paul II. And I still remember that moment. I remember that I approached him as a seminarian. I was, I think, 25 years old, maybe even younger. And I spoke half in Spanish, half in Italian. I don't know what I said. Probably the Holy Father had no idea what I said. But just meeting in person the Vicar of Christ and St. John Paul II, everything that he was. But it's interesting because I have a picture that is in my office. So the seminarians always say, "You met St. John Paul II." Yeah, you weren't even born, I say. But I remember that he was up in age already, and he was kind of bent over, so looking down. That was the impression that one had. So I remember kissing his ring and talking to him. But the aftertaste was, it was just, did he pay attention to what I said or whatever? These many times lies that the devil brings. Yes. But when you look at the picture, you can see me as a young seminarian looking down, kind of looking at his hand, because I'm aiming at the hand to kiss him. But you can see even though he's bent over, his eyes are looking up, very straight into my eyes. So that is just for me to say, the Holy Father, St. John Paul II, everyone says that when you are in front of him, you are the only person in the world. And I have a proof of that in that picture. So yeah, I served Mass for him, I met him. That was a brief interaction, but I will never, ever forget.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What was it like coming to Rome from Argentina? I mean, you didn't speak the language. You said that many of the professors spoke Spanish, but was there a big immersion period where you were trying to learn Italian, or did you kind of pick it up along the way?
I love languages, so I studied a little bit in Argentina, and Italian and Spanish are kind of similar, right?
Yes.
But I like them, so I did study. So actually, I arrived, because I was teaching in Argentina before I went to Rome. I arrived in Rome when the classes had already started, so I didn't have time for immersion.
Oh, wow.
I arrived literally on a Sunday, and on Monday I was in class.
Wow.
Literally, it was away. But I think that because of the huge immigration of Italians into Argentina, and it's part of our culture, we speak with our hands, as people can see.
Yes.
There was no need of transition. I felt at home immediately, and the people were so great. The great thing at Santa Croce, the first months, I would say, the first semester, the fact that many professors spoke in Spanish helped me, because I was a little shy speaking in Italian. I could understand, but speaking, so I could approach them in Spanish. But eventually, you are studying in Italian, so everything, you start thinking in Italian, and so the transition was so smooth immediately. Yeah. So, and the professors there were great, very patient, and yeah.
Yeah. What did sort of a day-to-day look like for you at the university?
Well, as I said, we had to drive every morning to Rome. So we would drive early in the morning and have our holy hour at St. Peter's Basilica plus Mass, and then we would walk, usually bring the rosary. If you know Rome, Via dei Conorari, beautiful place, beautiful street. So walking, praying the rosary, go to class. I think it was at 8:30 that we started. So it was beautiful just being there with other people from other countries. I made a lot of friends from other countries. So we will stay the whole morning in class. Then, depending on the day, we would go home and study at home, or just stay there. Let's say at the library. We had a panino, a sandwich, and there was no cafeteria at that time in the university.
Okay.
There was nothing. It was a machine that gave you, I think, coffee, and that's it. Now it's a huge place, beautiful.
Yeah.
No, there was nothing at the time. So we will stay there and study, and then I love to go to the library, which I understand changed a lot since my time now, but I loved going there and studying there. It was just a very beautiful building and just so good to study, and other people were studying. So I would stay studying there and then go back home and just prepare dinner and then go to bed. So it was a very intentional time of study. You're a student, so you want to study. However, obviously weekends, you're in Italy, so you're in Rome, so visiting a lot of churches in Rome or traveling around Italy. Everything is kind of close by, so it was great to have the experience to visit many places and visit the relics of many, many saints.
Yeah.
So the week would be study, mainly studying, and then the weekends a little bit more off. And obviously during breaks, sometimes you would just sneak out of the university during breaks, and then go. We are just around the corner from St. Agostino, so you can go and pray to St. Monica there. You will go there, and then you go and you have all these saints and beautiful churches close to the Pantheon. So it was. You go to St. Luigi de Franceschi, and you have these original Caravaggios there. So and this is walking distance. So you can take you have a 15-minute break, so you just go and then come back and go to class again. So it was amazing.
You talked a little bit about your classmates. What about your professors? Like, how did the professors or classmates impact your life and your sort of outlook?
All the professors were so well prepared. I think that you could tell that they prepared their classes a lot. It is interesting because I witnessed also professors who were already, these professors who are older, let's say that way, and with experience, and the younger ones who are starting. So it's beautiful to say that. I remember one, I want to mention this, if you allow me to do that. One professor who passed away, Miguel Angel Tabet, he used to teach scripture. He was from Venezuela. I remember him. He would never speak in Spanish, though. I would try, but he would always speak in Italian. He had been so long in Rome. He passed away during the COVID pandemic. But I mentioned this because my brother was in Rome and he saw him. He was staying at the house where he lived. So my brother always mentioned my name. I don't know how much the professors will remember me or not. But anyway, Father Tabet was there and he was up in age. And my brother made this homemade video with a greeting. Oh, I remember you. I don't know if he did. But anyway, the Professor Tabet said, I remember you. You were yours. And then that was the last video that he recorded.
Oh, wow.
Because eventually he was admitted into the hospital and he passed away.
Wow.
So, and that is something that that is a professor that really loved teaching. And I could name so many others. My scripture professors are my favorite. I could name so many. Professor Estrada also, who taught us St. Paul and the Gospels. Professor Fabri, who taught St. John. And I fell in love with that gospel because of the professors. I was looking forward to those classes. Moreover, I have a stronger devotion to St. John the Evangelist because of that class. I'm John, but my patron saint is St. John the Baptist, so I never changed. I don't want to betray the Baptist. But I kind of embrace the Evangelist. And I can say that the reason is that class. Yeah. So the professors, they were very serious, very well prepared, but there's more than just transmitting content. And that is something that you can feel in the university.
How did your time at Santa Croce prepare you for what you're doing now, forming these young seminarians here at this beautiful seminary?
Well, I mean, it's just, I remember, I always loved formation and teaching, so I remember the professors, not just, as I said, teaching, because we had conversations, and I would go to them sometimes for advice or questions. And what I do here is that, just I live with the seminarian. So the professor is not just somebody who is there to give you content, is there to mentor you. And I think what I did, I mean, the reality is different because it's a university, so I went there to school. My role here, besides teaching, is mentoring the men. So, but even in the class, when I teach, I like to just to be myself and not just to say, well, you guys have to study this or that. It's just, so I include my life in the teaching, so it becomes more personal. And I think that is something many of the professors did. You could see the person there, not just the person to transmit content. And I remember that very well.
What about for fun? What did you guys do for fun while you were there studying in Rome?
I think that the fun in Rome is just, man, you are in Rome.
Yeah.
So, because I didn't live downtown Rome or in the city, there's not night fun. Although you're a seminarian, so I mean, as I said before, I was part of a community, so the life is more regulated. But just the fact of being in Italy and traveling in the weekends and going to beautiful places, besides the religious sites, obviously, but there's so much art, architecture. So I think being there, and that is why I think every priest who has the opportunity to go to Italy has to be immersed in the Italian or the Roman or the Catholic culture that you have there. So you have the part of the theology, but there's way more. And for fun, I love just walking Rome. The interesting thing is, as I said, I left Rome in 2000 and I went back to Rome in 2016. And I could walk everywhere, and I knew every single place.
Oh, wow.
Nothing had changed. That's why they call it the Eternal City.
Yeah.
But so I think that for fun it was mainly visiting places, both religious places because there's so much. I mean, it's the heart of the church, but a lot of cultural places and museums and visiting buildings, ruins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that if you ask me what is the thing that I enjoyed the most for fun, it was that, and of course Italian food.
Yes. The food is amazing at
it's
every
amazing.
turn. Even like the smallest, little cafe is extraordinary. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah.
What about friends and family from Argentina? You had your brother there, which I'm sure was for part of the time that you were there, which I'm sure was amazing. Did you ever have any other friends or family? Did your parents ever come to?
One of the summers my parents came to visit me, so we had a wonderful time together. And I felt the Roman guy, so I would just walk around with them and show them around. And then we took a couple of trips. We went to Florence. We went to Assisi. So it was they didn't stay for a long time, but it was a beautiful opportunity to share what I had received. So my brother now goes to Rome pretty often.
Yes.
So I envy him. So come on, do you need a chaplain? Yeah. And I have a lot there. But yeah, remember with my siblings we are very close. But my brother even my sisters, when I was there, they took a trip. They were not married yet, so my two sisters with a friend of theirs, took a trip to Rome, and we got together for a couple of days. They were traveling Europe, but when they went to Rome, I remember that we got together at St. Peter's Square. So I am this young seminarian, all dressed as a priest or whatever, right? And my sisters ran to me and hugged me and said, come on, I'm like a priest, I was so in there. Now I still give them hugs. But at that time, you don't know.
You're not sure.
I always remember that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun also. So yeah, I would say that everyone in my family went to Rome, and we were able, in different moments, and we were able to get together there. Actually, with my brother, I was never in Rome. This is something that is still pending. We are planning on it sometime to go together because we were in Rome in different moments.
Okay. What about, what would you say to someone who is considering funding a student to go to Santa Croce? Because we know that many of the students at Santa Croce come from dioceses that can't afford to send them. We have a lot of guys from the US, but many come from Africa, India, South and Central America, and their diocese can't afford to send a guy to Rome. So what would you sort of highlight as, the reason why someone should support Santa Croce?
I would say, and it's talking to the people there, right? it's something that is for the church. I mean, don't think it's for this particular person. I mean, you will be supporting a particular priest or seminarian to go to Santa Croce and receive what I received. Not only great theology, great formation, but also this cultural, the Romanitas, as we say, it's just the Roman aspect of the church, the universality. It changes your mind and your heart. So it changes your priesthood. So if somebody's thinking, should I contribute to this cause, should I fund? Well, I mean, you don't need to think it twice, because again, it's not for this particular person, it's not even for this university. The university is part of the universal church. And as you said, the vision of St. Jose Maria was this proximity to the church, to the heart, to the Holy Father, and that happens there. So you are not investing in a university, in a diocese, in a person. You are investing in the church. And I think that that is what we need. We need holy priests who are in love with their faith, who are in love with the true theology. And then imagine the impact. A priest who is in love with his priesthood and who has all this that Rome has to offer and that Santa Croce has to offer will have a huge impact in thousands of people. So it's not one person, one place, one building, one institution. It's the church. So, I mean, if you're thinking about it, just stop thinking and do it.
Amazing. That was wonderful. Anything else you'd like to share with us
Well, I want to thank you guys for this, because I love Santa Croce. It's part of my life. And moreover, when I came to the seminary, many of the priests who are here are younger than I am, and also they graduated, so they would ask me, oh, Santa Croce, yeah, did you have this professor and this? And I said, well, no, those are my classmates. And did you have this and this? I asked, no, they all retired. So, but you immediately feel a connection. And even among priests, priests that you never met in your life, and you say, oh, I went to Santa Croce. Oh, really? Me too. And there's a lot of things in common. And not only the classes, memories of the building, going up the stairs, and this place, and the library, or even Piazza Navona. Oh, yeah, I used to go to this place to take gelato, or whatever. So I think it's Santa Croce is more than a university. It's a family, and I can say I want to thank you for this opportunity, because Santa Croce is part of my life, and I'm happy to share part of my life with you and those who are watching this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Father. We really appreciate your time, and look forward to doing some more alumni events and spending more time with you.
That would be awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.